late, so I almost forgot. I tried to find a suitable, how do you call that, microphone, but I could not find one. I was supposedly buying a headset, something like this, that has a microphone. But I end up with this one that they said it has a built-in microphone, but it's not good. I think it's good enough for a simple, very simple call, not beyond that. But for broadcast like this, it's not working. I tried it. It's not good enough. I'm not sure, but I tried it. It's not suitable for the purpose. So I wasted money for that. I remember the guy said, buy it smart or buy it twice. And unfortunately, I'm gonna buying it twice. Stupid. But anyway, I could not delay this anymore. It's getting late, so I intended this video once uploaded, people would perhaps stumble into it and start to see this voters education material beneficial for them. Tonight, let's look into the problem. Why Philippine politics is always toxic? Why is that? Why it's going on that way? And it's been happening for so long, and we seem not to find a resolve for that. Why is that? Because we do not understand the basics. And when I say the basics, I mean that even the concept of our government, for many, it is something that they could not comprehend. For example, look at our system of governance. Okay? This concept of a governance that is not like US. US is federal government. We also have the same concept of Congress with them. We have the Senate and the House of Representatives, and both houses comprises what we call Congress. And then their judicial system is not like ours. But remember this, their decision there is persuasive on our jurisdiction. Well, I explained that on some other time. We have a presidential system, democratic. They have a federal system. They also have a democratic government. And if we go closer into our government and visit the form we have, you have three pillars of the Philippine government. You have the judiciary, you have the what we call presidential, the presidential. We have the judiciary, we have the legislative, and then we have the executive branch of the government. Now, the three pillars of our government is the three sources of the leadership in our government. The president happened to be the chief of the executive branch of the government. Whereas the Congress, the chief of the Congress is the Senate president. Second to that guy is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. On the judiciary, they call it the gods of the Fara. The highest, of course, is the Supreme Court. And in Supreme Court, you have the Chief Justice as the highest of all. So you have the three highest officers of the land, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, you have the President of the Senate, and the President of the Republic of the Philippines. They said, as in the Constitution, that they are co-equal branches. But no. Yeah, in the paper, yes, but no, and yes. Is it a confusion? It's a sort of conundrum, but technically, yes and no. How is that? Let me explain it to you. Now, the Congress, they create law. Okay? But they cannot implement the law. See? They made a law, they voted the law, the president signs it, and it becomes a law. Okay? What comes from the Congress is just a bill. When the bill is passed to the office of the president, it becomes a law once the president signed it. Or, when the president do not sign it, and let it pass for a while, let's say 3 months or more, it will just, it will just become a law. Di ba? Pinatulog. Yung mga iniwan ni Presidente Duterte ng mga batas hindi pinirmahan, ayun, batas na. See? So, ano pang isa? Pag pinirmahan ng Presidente, it becomes a law. Or, pinatulog, it also becomes a law. Kasi kailangan pag ayaw ng Presidente yung batas, lalagyan niya ng annotations, yung mga punto, yung mga provision ng batas, ayaw ko to. Ito ang dahilan. Hindi na, ayaw ko niyan. Hindi yan trip. Kundi, this is not it. And the basis is this. So, when you are the president, hindi ka lang dapat na, kaibigan ko to, pahig ako sa batas na ginawa niya. No. You have these people, of course, we have lawyers behind the president, but one thing you have to observe that the president himself should be able to point out those provisions which are problematic. He himself, he would not be dependent on lawyers or other people around him to find that out. Dapat siya mismo alam niya yun. Yan yung problema. See? Pag yung presidente mo hindi alam ang tinatawag na public policy formulation. Bagaman, that's the primary work of the Congress, but obviously, the president has also some sort of work of that kind. He is the executive, but he has also some work that is entangled into the work of the Congress. Kasi kung mali yung batas ng Kongreso sa paningin niya, and he has the legal basis for that, he would have to write it and transmit it back to the Congress, and the Congress has to look into it and find the way to make it harmonize into the point of the president according to what? Existing laws. Hindi lang basta na, hindi gusto ni presidente kasi ayaw niya. May basihan siya. So the president must be what? Not necessarily a lawyer, but he must be equipped with the fundamentals of what we call public policy formulation. So pag wala ang presidente noon, lagi siyang mapapaikutan. See? So, ang gumawa ng batas, Congress, ang mag-i-implement ay presidente, but when you go to the executive, Congress, na gumagawa ng batas, hindi niya nagagawa yun kumpleto. It needs what? The signature of the president. The president is technically a part of the Congress. Point? Sabi ng iba, hindi yan pwede. Hindi nga. Hindi nga. Dahil yung batas na ginawa nila ay hindi yun batas unless signed by the president or it has lapsed into law. See? So technically, the president is part of the process. He signed that into law or let it lapse into law. In the two way, the president is part of the process of the Congress. Then comes this part. Bagaman si Congress ang gumawa ng batas, he is not allowed by our Constitution to interpret the law. It's only the Supreme Court who can say and interpret if the law is correct or if the law is aligned with our Constitution. Otherwise, if the Supreme Court would say that that certain law ay hindi siya sumusunod sa Constitution, is declared unconstitutional, then the law will be void. Of course, it is insofar as the provisions which are not in accordance with the Constitution. But nevertheless, kahit sabihin mong ganon, it doesn't mean na ang Supreme Court, ang judiciary, ang judicial branch ng gobyerno, ang pinakamataas na sangay ng gobyerno. Sabihin mo, ang gobyerno pala ang pinakamataas Supreme Court. No, it doesn't mean that way. So why am I giving you this kind of clarification? Ba't ko kinaklarify ito? Kasi maraming tao hindi naiintindihan kung sino yung binubuto. Ba't nyo binubuto yun? Ba't nyo nilagay doon ang isang tao sa isang posisyon? Ba't nyo ginawa siya? Ay, gusto ko ito, mabait ito. Mabait. Yun ba yung kailangan niya? Maging mabait? Okay? Tingnan nyo yung tatlong branch ng government kanina na binanggit ko. You have judiciary, you have executive, and then you have legislative. Magkaiba yung mga trabaho, magkaiba yung kanilang mga gampanin, pero masyado silang konektado. And dito tayo sa pinaka-sensitive part. Ano yon? Mga tao na hinahalal natin sa Kongreso. Uunahin natin to. In the Congress, may kaparehas yan pababa. You have what? Sa opisina ng sa level ni gobernador, anong mayroon dyan? Ang bukal. Okay? Or sangguniang panlalawigan. Ang tawag ng iba dyan, bukal. I was in Batangas for quite some time and that's how they call it in Batangas. They call it bukal. So let's go with that terminology. And then when you go down to the level of the mayor of the municipality or city, you have what we call the city council or the municipal council. Yan ay nasa linya lahat ng lehislatibo. Anong function nila primarily? Mabait? Kaibigan? Magaling magpainom? Yan ba ang ating gusto? Yan bang ilalagay nating mga tao? Ha? Yun ba sila yung kailangan? Kailangan magaling ka maging kaibigan. Pag nakita, oy, pre, got a good friend. Is that how it is? Do we need more friends? Casper and friends. How about that? Ha? Yan ba yung kailangan natin sa ating legislative branch? Tagagawa ng batas. Isang kaibigan. We are gravely mistaken. People there should be people with what? Capacity to understand public policy and know how to create, formulate a public policy. That's the work. Hindi maging mabait. Kahit siya hindi mabait. Kung siya yung marunong, siya yung kailangan. Yan ang problema natin sa ating politics dito. It's always what? A game of popularity. It's always a game of who knows who. And Ilang kaibigan mo? Dahil kang kaibigan, mananalo ka. So yun yung nagiging problema natin. We rely on that. We do not go into what? Qualification. Yung ating mga gumagawa ng batas, walang qualification. And then we start blaming the barangay captain. Dahil ang binoto mong kagawad ay ano? Nagtataho. Oh. Kainuman mo. Binoto mong kagawad. Tapos sisihin mo si kapitan. Ang papangit ng ordinansa ng barangay. Bakit? Sino may kasalanan? Si kapitan? Kayo. Tayo na mga butante. Nagalit tayo. Pangit ang mga ordinansa ng munisipyo. You look at that. They don't even know the basics on public health. They don't even know something about the basic concept of what you call this, land use. Ang pinili natin walang alam eh. Ha? Pumili ka ng mga kagawad ng munisipyo, those people who has no knowledge at all in public policy formulation at wala din silang alam sa engineering. Anong gagawin nila pagdating sa land use? Kaya ang gulo ng mga munisipyo, tingnan mo. Tingnan mo, lahat ng munisipyo, ang gugulo. Nagkahalo-halo lahat, ang lahat ng mga building kung saan-saan lang nakatanim. Dahil walang comprehensive plan. Bakit? Ay kahit sino lang ang ating nilalagay sa ating municipal council. So, sinong sisisihin natin? Mayor. Again, si Mayor ay nasa linya ni Presidente. Ang nasa linya ni Congress ay ang Municipal Council. See? So kahit ano pang galing ni Mayor, kung ang batas na pinalabas ng Municipal Council ay mga walang kwentang ordinansa, walang magagawa si Mayor doon. He is only as good as the Municipal Council. The same is true with the governor. Si Gob, dependent din sa talino ng mga sangguniang panlalawigan or the Provincial Board Council. See? And many people do not realize that. They think, basta magaling si Gob, kaibigan namin si Gob, ayos ng probinsya. Hindi yun. Hindi yun. Dahil, you have to be reminded, mga kababayan, that lahat ng function in our government are governed by laws. May batas. Hindi pwede, kaibigan yan, mabait yan. Ang bait niya sa loob lang ng batas, lumagpas siya doon, ano nang labas? Ha? Ano nang labas noon? Corruption. Simple outlook. Tingnan nyo. Yan ang problema sa madami. We didn't realize that. We fail to realize that. So, naglalakay ka ng tao, walang kaalam-alam sa paggawa ng batas, gawin mo magbabatas. Dahil magaling lang siyang kaibigan. See? So, nakita niyo yung tatlong branch ng government. Yung, maaari siguro magaling siyang mayor, pero hindi siya magaling na lawmaker. Kasi in lawmaking, you have to be part, technically, of, sabihin natin, group of academics who are trained to look into the needs of the people without infringing into the needs of others. Okay. What I'm trying to say. Sabi na nga, your right ends where the right of others begin. See? Ito yung problema ng maraming tao. Yung emphasize niya masyado yung right niya. Karapatan ko to. Minsan to the point na apakan niyo yung karapatan ng iba. We have to remember that our karapatan ends where the karapatan ng iba nagsisimula. So, ganun yan minsan. Binilalagay natin yung isang tao sa maling posisyon. I remember the words of then Justice Padilla. Sabi niya, yung problema sa ating bansa, we are what? A country of misfits We put square pegs in a round hole. That's the problem. Magaling sanang mayor, ginawa nating councilor. Malagaling na councilor, ginawa nating mayor. Anong labas? Hindi alam ni mayor kung anong gagawin niya. Hindi alam ni councilor paano magsulat ng batas. We raise it up to the House of Representatives. Anong mangyayari? Si congressman nanalo, mapera eh. Ano ngayon? Ano yung mga batas na ginawa? Wala. Hindi marunong. Marunong siya makipagkaibigan. Pero hindi siya marunong magsulat ng batas. Look at Ruben Padilla. We go straight to the Senate. Pareho lang yan halos. 2 years. Walang ginawa kundi maghimas ng balbas. Rafi Tulfo. Mayroong isa. Yung anti-seafarers law. Tawag ng mga seafarers law. Anti-seafarers law. Sa halip kasi na matulungan yung seafarers, lalo pa yatang gumulo yung buhay nila. So anyway, hindi ko nababasa yan. So I will not really emphasize deeply on that. Hindi ko naman nabasa yan. So, yung mga nabasa ko lang. But when you think about it, 2 years? Isang batas? Oh my goodness. 2 taon ka na dyan. Kung parang teacher lang, sa 2 taon ka, pinapasahod ka buwan-buwan, hindi ka nagtuturo. Ganyan ginawa ni Rafi Tulfo. Ruben Padilla is worse. Sa 2 years, 0. Walang batas na naipasa. Pero mga tao, tuwang-tuwa. Wow! Para dito sa atin, ibubuto ko yung kahit sino sa anong posisyon na gusto niya, basta masaya ako sa kanya. See? And that's my experience with students. Sa loob ng classroom. May estudyante mo, masaya, basta magsisigawan sila doon, magkukwentuhan, masaya na yung klase. Kahit wala silang matutunan. Yan. Utak Pilipino. Masaya, kahit walang makukuhang mabuti. And we are happy with our government, kahit wala tayong nakukuhang benefits. See? Tingnan mo ating mga senadores na nilalagay. Madami dyan walang alam. You look at, say, may nagagawa naman. Yeah, si Bong Revilla. Nakadalawa ding batas. Tinalo pa si Rafi Tulfo, isa lang. Nakadalawang batas. Anong unang batas ni Bong Revilla ngayong panahon na to? Choklo. Yung batas tungkol sa chok. Di ba? Mahigit 2 milyon gasto natin sa kanila bawat buwan. Well, okay na yung may chok. Kaysa wala. Pero tuwang-tuwa tayo sa walang ginagawa na ang laki ng gastos natin buwan-buwan. Yung simple lang pag-upo-upo dyan sa kanilang hearing daw. We spend so much money for that. And yet, ano yung nakikreate nila? Hardly a law. Rafi Tulfo, for the first time, 3 ulit nagkaroon ng tinatawag mong joint session. Unang nangyari pa lang yan, 3 joint session. Grabe. Dahil yung gawang Rafi Tulfong batas ay sobrang magulo. Pero, gustong-gusto ng tao. Pag ikaw gwapo, sikat, ibubuto ka ng tao, kahit anong gusto mo, basta, sikat, kilala ka. Kahit, hindi mo alam kung ano yung gusto mo na tinatakbuhan mo, ibubuto ko pa rin kasi cute ka sa kanilang paningin. Mind you, sunod na magiging senador, si Cardo. Kakandidato yan si Mokong, senador. Si Pokwang. Incoming senador yan, si Pokwang. Si Cardo na hindi mamatay-matay sa TV. Kakandidato yan. When you think about that. Look at this politics. And then one thing that you would know also is that even after election is done, during the tenure of the new elected president, still, the politics is very strong. The politics never stop. You read all these comments and read all these issues now running on YouTube, and you'd find out there's so much politics. What's going on? 2028 is so far away when you think of the national office. And yet politicizing is happening as if we are having our election for the new president tomorrow. We never stop politics. That's the problem with the Philippines. Pag nakaupo yung isang na-elect na presidente na hindi niya binoto, kalaban niya yun. Sa halip na magtutulungan, lagi nating kalaban, ang ating kalaban. Again, look back. The three pillars of the government. Dapat sila magiging magkaibigan. Hindi naglalaban. The Congress creates the law. The President signs it into law. The Supreme Court interprets the law with one purpose. Sino yun? Si Juan de la Cruz ay pangalagaan. That's the purpose of the law. That's the purpose of the Congress. That's the purpose of the government. Because if you look into our Constitution, it provides that the Constitution is by the people, for the people. Para sa atin yan. That power of the government, that power of the Congress, that power of the President, galing yan sa taong bayan. And the moment we cast our vote during election, we transfer that power to the President. We transfer that power to the Mayor. We transfer our power to the Municipal Council, yung mga konsehal na yan. Nililipat natin yung ating kapangyarihan sa kanila. And the same is true, nililipat natin ating kapangyarihan sa kay congressman at kay senator during election. So, wala tayong masisisi kung pangit ang kinalalabasan ng gobyerno. After all, yan ang ating gusto. So, knowing the basics of the government is very essential for a smart decision during election. Ang nilalagay ba natin na gumawa ng batas ay marunong magsulat ng batas o marunong mangupya? Paano mag-angkop at paano magtugma ang batas na sinulat niya kung kinupya niya lang sa ibang lugar na hindi angkop sa lugar natin? So that's the basic. Like maraming batas na kinupya sa Amerika ang Congress noon dahil maraming binoto sa Kongreso na hindi marunong. So gumawa ng mga batas, kinopya sa Amerika, dinala sa Pilipinas. What happened? Yung mga bata ngayon, hirap ka na, parent ka, hirap ka. Bakit? 7610. Pwede kang pailan ng anak mo. Pwede kang pailan ng kaso ng kapitbahay mo. This is an American law na kinopya natin. Republic Act 7610. Inayawan natin ang PD 603. Technically, we amended it. Why? Because of the caprice of this congressman. Yun nga, nagstakbuhan, na namang alam masyado kung anong gagawin. So that's what happened. At ang mga Pilipino, hindi naman alam kung saan papunta si congressman. Ano bang gagawin ni congressman? Ay, mabait yan. Buto natin yan. Kahit di niya alam magsulat ng batas, basta mabait siya. That's the basic qualification you need in the Philippines. Mabait ka, kaibigan ka, magpainom ka, magbigay ka ng pera, bubuto ka. 3 basic qualification. Alam mong gawain mo? It's not an issue. Kaya mong gawin ang gawain mo? It's not an issue. Naiintindihan mo yung trabaho mo? It's not an issue. Sapat na mauto mo ang butante ng mga Pilipino. Madali lang silang mauto. Konting sayaw, konting kanta, bubutuhin ka na. Dahil hindi nila alam kung para saan ka, kung anong gagawin mo, at ano dapat ang kakayanan mo. Kaya ang butante at ang politiko, pareho na walang alam kung ano yung gagawin nila. Ano resulta? We have chaotic government. You cannot expect a very good president with a very bad Congress. You cannot expect a very good mayor with a very bad municipal council. The same with the governor. Kahit anong galing ni governor, kung mahina ang sangguniang panglalawigan, the governor could not be better than his provincial council. The provincial council creates the law for the province. Now, kung walang batas, si governor makakaakto lang depende sa batas na nalikha. Kagaya ni presidente, depende sa batas na nalikha ni Congress and si mayor sa municipal council. They must belong kung saan sila dapat. Hindi na ginusto lang natin kasi mukhang okay. I think this is enough for now. And so, see you tomorrow for another part of the presentation. I hope, pag nabasa nyo to, mapakinggan nyo, and you might open something else that I could perhaps discuss para sa susunod na mga vlogs. So, I hope it would give us some sort of mind-opening because I will be discussing more and more. This is the lightest part because it's introduction, but we will come to sa mga mabibigat na part on the later part of our presentation. And I'm just mixing Tagalog and English. It's kind of difficult to explain it lahat sa Tagalog. Wala akong word para doon. Although I can explain it easily in English, but then hindi lahat naman geared para doon. Even with my students, the same. The same problem. Okay? So, I really have to consider that part. Now, this kind of presentation is not for everyone. Hindi to para sa lahat. Hindi to chismis eh. Okay? Hindi to chismis. So, hindi maraming nagugusto ng ganitong academic discussion. Hindi rin ako masyado pang marunong how to put some videos on the presentation. I'm trying to learn. This is my initial stage of doing the YouTube thing. Though mayroon akong mga video dyan, pero iba yon. Iba to, live to. I don't have script right here. No script. So, I'm doing it straight from stock knowledge. And, of course, reading before doing the presentation. I do reading, so I can explain it much better. So, see you tomorrow. And matulog tayo ng maayos. Pag may problema, speak it out. Okay? Speak out. What you have in your mind, speak it out. Because hindi mo pwedeng itago ng itago yan. If you have concern, speak it out. Wala naman bayad yan. We have the right to say what we feel, what we think, what happened in our government. May karapatan ho tayo dyan. But that karapatan, remember, is within the ambit of the law. Hindi pwedeng lumagpas. Mayroong limitasyon yan lahat. So, magiging topic natin yan in the coming days. But of course, tonight, introduction lang tayo. So, thank you. See you. Matulog na maayos. See you tomorrow. Thank you sa pakikinig, sa mga nandito. I don't know kung ilan ang makakakita nito after tonight. But I hope that it will be something that would help people, especially the voters, dahil ito ay voters education, ang material na to. It will be series of many videos. It's all for the voters. Thank you and goodbye.